Minasan konnichiwa. Hello friends, how are you? Welcome to Saral Japani YouTube channel for learning Japanese and about Japan. We have so far completed 40 lessons in this series, and today we are once again moving into the world of kanjis. So here is lesson 41, kanji 51 to 55. If you have been following my channel, then you might remember that we had learned 50 basic kanji characters in this series so far. So before continuing with the next character in the series of kanjis, let's summarize what all we learned about kanjis for the benefit of new members or new subscribers of this channel. Lesson 16 was all about learning kanjis, that is the ways one should adopt to learn kanjis, and what are onyomi and kun'yomi, what's the difference between these two, and so on. Then lesson 17 introduced the first set of 20 kanjis that had numerals 1 to 5, then numeral 10, the person radical, and some more characters derived from the person radical. Then we discussed the sun radical and again some related kanjis and few more as you can see in this long list. Lesson 18 had kanjis from 21 to 30 and that had the tree radical and several other characters derived from the tree radical like the roots, then forest and woods, village and so on. Then we learned about the water, mountain and river radicals as well. Likewise, lesson 19 had kanjis 31 to 40 in which 6 to 9 numerals, 100,000 numerals and kanjis for year, gold, king, earth, and few more were discussed. And finally, lesson 20 had kanjis 41 to 50, where we discussed about the days of the week, the rice field radical, and the human or the male otoko radical character derived from the rice field radical. Then we discussed about the kanjis of evening, rain, and so on. So you will find the links to all these lessons, that is lesson 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 in the description section of this video. Please go through them if not already done so that when you start learning about the next kanji, you are familiar with all these. So with that briefing, let's now move ahead in our kanji studies. Here begins today's lesson. Kanji 51 to 55. Today's 5 characters. These are the 5 characters that we are going to learn in today's lesson. And as you can see, these characters are very commonly used in day-to-day life in Japan, and you will come across these characters in most of the sentences or most of the grammar lessons in in the series of or in the series for beginners, in the lessons that are generally offered to the beginners of Japanese learning. So very important kanji characters. Let's start. So this is the first character of today's lesson, which represents now or the current, that is this may be this moment or this day. The onyomi reading is kon or kin, and the kunyomi reading is ima. In kunyomi, in onyomi, the meaning may be current, this, today's, which is written as kon. Then we may have kinjo. Kinjo means the present emperor or the reigning emperor. So you can see two kanji characters here. This is for kin and this is for jo. So kin means this and jo means king. So this is the present king or the present emperor. And this one, konnichiwa, you all know about it. And in fact, we were introduced to this kanji character in the lesson of Japanese greetings in which we studied about konnichiwa. So kon ni nichi, kon nichi wa. So this means this day. The literal meaning is this day, and the the hidden meaning is this is for for wishing a good day to someone or good afternoon to someone. These are the Kun'yomi applications of this character. In Kun'yomi, this character is called Ima, which again represents now, the present time, just now, soon, immediately, another or more. So depending upon the situation and the usage, or combining this kanji with other kanjis or some other hiragana characters, the different kind of words may be formed that may give slightly different meanings. So that depends on the usage of the character. So you need not bother much about that. So the basic meaning of this character is current phase or now or this. And these are some applications or usage. So here in this one, you can recognize this character. This we had done in one of the previous lessons. This is Naka, which means the center or inside something. And this is this. So this means Nakaima, which means the present, which is used especially as a privileged moment in eternity. Then this is Imagaima, Imagaima, which means just now. The radical from which this character is derived is the very familiar human radical, and this is the variant of the human radical or the person radical. And the two parts that this character is comprised of are, this is the radical for one and this is the radical for counter of articles or counter for people. So by combining these two are there present in this complex kanji character. Now let's have a look at the stroke order to write this kanji. This is the first stroke. This is the second stroke. This is the third stroke. And this is the fourth stroke. The direction of each of these strokes you should remember, because we need to follow the stroke order and the direction as well. Now, how or from where this character was evolved. So this is the ancient form of the character. So, and this is the modern form, which is our kanji character basically, and this is the ancient form. So why this character was chosen, or what is the logic behind this? So as you can see that uh, this character or this picture represents something under the covered space. So does it means uh, something present here or this? So that's the reason why this character is used to represent now or this, or the current situation of something, current phase of something. So with that, we finish this first character of today's lesson. Now we move on to the next character. This is once again a very, very familiar character, which represents I, me, or something private. So watashi, as we all use this uh, uh, in numerous times. So the onyomi reading is she, and the kunyomi reading is watashi or watakushi. In onyomi, she means private affairs or personal matter, and in kunyomi, it means I, me, and watakushi may also refer to personal affair, private, and even selfishness and confidentiality if it is used with some more characters, and based on the usage, where we are using it, in which sentence and at what position we are using it, and in what context we are using it, that will decide the actual hidden meaning of this character. But as a whole, as I said, uh, this is the base meaning of this character, which is I, me, watashi. Very, very popular. It is derived from the grain radical, as you can see, and it has two parts. One is this grain radical, and then the other one is the katakana mu sound. This is nothing but the mu sound of katakana. So using these two parts, this composite character has been formed. This is the stroke order: the first stroke, the second stroke, the third stroke, the fourth stroke, the fifth stroke, the sixth stroke, and this is the seventh stroke. So in 7 strokes, watashi kanji will be written. And now how this watashi kanji has been derived. So as you can see, this ancient picture represents a food grain crop. It represents a food grain plant or crop, and it is added to this character, which means revolving around oneself. Since this is circulating like this, so it is something revolving around oneself. So what does the combination of these two characters mean? So it means a personal grain field. So this is personal and this is the grain crop. So together it represents personal grain field. And because of that, the modern character represents something personal, and hence this is used to represent I or me. So this is something that belongs to me, or some kind of ownership, or even confidentiality and selfishness, as well as we saw in the last slide. So this is watashi. Next, we have another very important and very commonly used kanji character, which is that of child. The on readings are shi and tsu, and the kun readings are ko, and it may end with ko, and the third one is ne. So she means here child, especially a boy, founder of a school of thought, example Confucius. This is toitsu. Toitsu means pair or eyes. In Kun'yomi, ko means child, kid, teenager, youngster, a non-adult person, that is a young person, offspring, young woman, and even a young animal. Then we have nekko. Nekko means root of a plant, base, foundation, origin, or source. And we have ne, which is the rat, or the first sign of the Chinese zodiac. So this is Ko for you, and it is a radical in itself. So there will be no further parts of this character. This is the child or the seed radical. Now this is the stroke order. This is the first stroke like this. This is the second stroke up till here, and finally the third stroke. So in three strokes, this child radical ko will be written. This is the ancient form. So as you can see, this it represents a child, and thus this is the modern form. So very clear how the modern version of child has been derived from this ancient scripture. Next, we have a character that is derived from the child radical, which is study, learning, or science of something. The on reading is gaku, and the kun reading is manabu. The meaning of gaku is learning, scholarship, study, knowledge, education, study of something, and words in English that generally ends with ology, like biology, physiology, or X like physics, thermodynamics, and so on. This is Daigaku. Daigaku means university. Dai means big. Gaku means learning or place of learning. So Daigaku means university. In Kun'yomi, it is Manabu, and Manabu means to study in depth, to learn, to take lessons in. So this character, be it Gaku or Manabu, it represents learning or study of something, derived from child radical, as we said, and there are three parts of it. This is the va shaped crown radical. This is the child radical, and there is a third part, this part, which is derived from this esteem radical, or furthermore still young, or yet. This, the meaning of this radical is any of these. So now let's see the stroke order before we move on to find out how this character has been evolved. So these three strokes first, then this is the fourth stroke, this is the fifth stroke, the entire section up to here. Then we have a similar stroke order as we have seen in the child radical. And this is how this gaku is written. So if we look at this diagram carefully, this is the child radical, this is the furthermore or yet radical, and this is the crown radical. And all these three combines to form this composite kanji character, which is gaku or manabu. And why? What is the logic behind these three characters? These three constituting characters or radicals. A child who is a learner yet, who is still young at or at preliminary stage of learning, leads towards becoming an expert or scholar and gets a crown. So the green words in this sentence represents these three kanji characters, and combining these two we have this learning or study or science. So this is how this composite character has been derived. And finally, number 55, the last one in today's lesson, is what. So we have come across this when we were studying about what type of questions in the grammar section. If you have not done that lesson, please go back in this playlist and find out which lesson had this what questions. So this is basically in On'yomi we call it ka, this character, and Kun'yomi we call it nan or nani. So again, nan and nani both represents what question, and where nan will be used and where nani will be used, that we have discussed in detail in that lesson. So I am not going to repeat that in this lesson because this is the lesson for kanji and not for grammar. So please go back there if you want to understand the difference between the two. The onyomi meaning of this symbol is interrogation, and in the kunyomi we have none for what or how many. We have nani for what, you know what, that thing. Hey, come on. Oh, certainly not. And it is also used as a slang for the male reproductive organ, that is for penis. Then we have nanika. Nanika means something, some, any, somehow, for some reason. So what are you trying to say? And what do you mean? So for all these, nanika may be used. It is derived from the man or human or the person radical, and these are the stroke orders. This is the stroke order for this. So you have to carefully remember the stroke order: first stroke, second stroke, third stroke, fourth stroke, fifth stroke, sixth stroke, and the final stroke. In this order, you have to write it. And this is the ancient form of this character, a man carrying something over his shoulder. So what is he carrying? That is not clear, and that's why this what question is coming, and that's why this symbol is used for what. And from this ancient character, this modern character for this kanji, for this purpose, that is what, that is nan or nani, has been derived. So now talking about the parts of this character, we have the one radical out here. We have the barb or fork radical here, like this. We have the change or influence radical here. This is part of that. And we have the mouth radical here. So you might think that all these do not make any sense for what we are trying to achieve. That is what. So friends, in basic kanjis like mountain, river, fire, earth, or some other basic ones like the tree or the sun, there is logic behind, there is very simple logic derived from nature for those characters. But if we try to find logic in the complex kanji characters like this one, then we will be totally lost, and that would even more confuse us as to how we arrived at this character. So for such cases, the best suggestion is to avoid going much deeper into the reason or the logic behind how these characters have been developed. Just remember that this is kanji, and I think this is the best, easiest way to visualize this, that a man is carrying something over his shoulders and we don't know what he is carrying. That's why we are asking, what is this man carrying? And that's why this is the symbol for what. So friends, that's all for today's lesson. We have just learned 5 kanji characters which are very commonly and popularly used in day-to-day Japanese language. So I hope you have learned this. Do share your feedback and comments in the comment section, and we will be back with another set of kanjis in lesson 42. Till then, goodbye, take care, mata imasho,